Good Tuesday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top news stories, let's head outside and take a quick look outside our weather window. And some pretty good snow showers this morning, tapering off to just snow flurries throughout our afternoon. And that's what we pretty much saw as we look down at the Wenatchee Valley and all the low clouds hanging around. And this is from the Wenatchee Heights in our Sky-Fi Tower camera. We call it the cross camera. And think of today as a rock concert. What we saw today as far as snow, the opening act, tonight, overnight, and into tomorrow, they're the main event and the headliners. And here's what we expect overnight tonight and into Wednesday, 4 to 6 inches of snow expected, or possible, I should say, here in the Wenatchee Valley. We have upgraded our winter weather advisory to a winter storm warning now. And if you head east, a little bit less snow in Moses Lake, 1 to 2 inches, and still quite a bit snow to our north as well, up in the Methow Valley. And we will talk much more about this storm system coming up a little bit later on in your weather forecast. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. A wrong-way driver in a stolen vehicle left I-90 west of Moses Lake and led Grant County Sheriff's deputies on an erratic chase Saturday morning. A Kashmir woman who sped away from police last year and crashed into another vehicle was sentenced to 3 months in jail yesterday. And we'll have dramatic body cam video from the Moses Lake Police Department that shows the early Monday morning arrest of 22-year-old Brian Smith. But first, we begin tonight. Today was day one for Wenatchee's first mass vaccination site put in place at Town Toyota Center to inoculate qualifying patients against COVID-19. National Guard troops, state incident management teams, and the Chelan-Douglas Health District are spearheading the operation. NCWLIFE's Jefferson Robbins was there.
With 100 appointments booked on its opening day and 400 a day for the rest of the week, the Town Toyota Center continues to be a key front in NCW's war on COVID-19. For months during the pandemic, the arena parking lot has served as a vaccination center and a food bank distribution point. Now, people who qualify for the Pfizer coronavirus vaccine can make an appointment and drive through this open-air clinic to receive their inoculations.
And then on Friday, we should be hearing more how many the state got in and how many will be allocated to us. And as we build capacity here, not only with the mass vaccination site, but with our partners, we will be able to scale much larger and much faster. And the better that we do here, the more organized that we are, we're hoping that that helps us get prioritized for even more vaccinations to make us a top priority in the state.
The arena parking lot is likely to be used for this purpose well into the summer. These shots are designated for people 65 and older, and for those 50 and older who live in households with multiple generations, like grandparents with parents and grandchildren. Other categories of recipients are expected to open up by spring.
So right now this mass vaccination site is partnering very closely with Confluence because Pfizer needs to be stored at a very, very cold temperature, and Confluence has the most capacity to be able to store that in order to get it down to the Town Toyota Center.
Recipients get their shot and then must stand by in a holding lot for 15 minutes while they're monitored for any allergic reaction. Each vaccination is given in 2 doses, 3 to 4 weeks apart. Second doses will be administered at the same vaccination center. The inoculations should help prevent illness, but they don't necessarily keep immunized people from spreading COVID-19, so masking and social distancing remain crucial.
And I want to encourage you to continue to mask and social distance, wash your hands, do all of the things that have been laid out by our health officer and by the Department of Health to continue bringing these numbers down. Our goal, of course, is to keep people safe, save lives, and get businesses open as quickly as we can.
There's still confusion about the process, and Davies says it's being fine-tuned. Workers on Tuesday turned away multiple people wanting the vaccine who thought they could drive up and get it with no appointment. No new sign-ups will be accepted until noon on Sunday. When that time comes, if you qualify, go to prepmod.doh.wa.gov and enter your information, or call these phone numbers. If you're not able to make it to the site, Davies recommends contacting your primary health care provider. Jefferson Robbins, NCWLIFE.
A wrong-way driver in a stolen vehicle left Interstate 90 west of Moses Lake and led Grant County Sheriff's deputies on an erratic chase Saturday morning. The sheriff's office said shortly before 6 a.m., a deputy saw the 2001 GMC Sonoma pickup driving the wrong way as it exited I-90 at Dodson Road. The deputy tried to stop the pickup, but the driver, identified as 33-year-old Carlos Santa Cruz of Moses Lake, fled east on North Frontage Road. Santa Cruz reportedly was driving erratically and changing speeds. Several times he slowed and tried to motion with his arm for pursuing deputies to go around him. The sheriff's department did say, and after successfully avoiding spike strips at North Frontage Road and Road A Northeast, Santa Cruz reportedly drove onto a dirt road and then surrendered. Santa Cruz faces charges of felony eluding and possession of a stolen vehicle. Meanwhile, a Kashmir woman who sped away from police last year and crashed into another vehicle was sentenced to 3 months in jail yesterday. 23-year-old Jessica Haley Fisk pleaded guilty in Douglas County Superior Court to fleeing police, hit and run, driving on a suspended license, and reckless endangerment for the incident back on January of 2020. Fisk refused to stop her passenger car for a patrol officer in Rock Island and then struck an unoccupied car during the chase. Police said they found 25 grams of meth packaged in the vehicle, but a drug possession charge was dropped when she entered her plea. Fisk now faces trial in March in Spokane County for allegedly causing a 3-car accident that hospitalized a family there last year. Well, body cam video from the Moses Lake Police Department shows the early Monday morning arrest of 22-year-old Brian Smith. Police say Smith was burglarizing a storage unit facility in the 1600 block of West Broadway, but fled before police arrived. Canine Rex then followed his trail, where he was found hiding in brush along the lake. Police say several warning shots were fired before Rex was sent in to detain Smith. After being treated for minor dog bite injuries, Smith was taken to the Grant County Jail, where he awaits burglary charges. Here's body cam video of the arrest provided by the Moses Lake Police Department.
Huh? 139 Mac, we have canine contact.
Leave it. Hey, step away. Get back.
Come toward me.
Put your hands up.
Okay, Rex, I got him.
No, stop. Okay, Brian, right? You're going to step out. Joe, go to the other side of the street and grab him from there.
Brian, over here. Over here.
Get the dog away from me.
We got him. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. No, we don't have any. Okay. Where are you injured? Where are you injured, Mr. Smith?
All over. Right leg.
Okay. Mr. Martin, when you were done with that, start taking pictures of his hands, everything of fresh injuries right now.
Coming up next, 51 people have now died of COVID-19 in the Wenatchee Valley, with 2 more added yesterday, while the Grant County Health District reported 7 new COVID-19 deaths Monday, and 37 candidates from Eastmont and Wenatchee high schools began a 2-day process yesterday to select the Apple Blossom Top 10 royalty for the 2021 festival. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
It's estimated that 1/3 of Americans do not have a financial plan. At D.A. Davidson, their advisors are working to change that because they understand the importance of planning for the future. At D.A. Davidson, they believe in partnering together to build a strategy tailored to your needs. They spend the time and have the knowledge to help keep your financial future on track. Let D.A. Davidson Financial Advisors of Wenatchee put the strength of advice to work for you.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
You love to help others. You need a solid career. You can have it all with help from Charter College. Our 10-month medical assistant program prepares you to work in healthcare settings like physician offices, rehab centers, and clinics. You'll learn to take patient vitals, assist with exams, administer injections, and maintain medical records. When you're ready to launch a rewarding healthcare career, visit chartercollege.edu because we work to get you to work.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. 51 people have now died of COVID-19 in the Wenatchee Valley. The Chelan-Douglas Health District added 2 new deaths to the roster of those lost to the coronavirus since it arrived in Washington 1 year ago. Both are male Chelan County residents, one in his 70s and one in his 80s. That brings the total number of individuals who've died from COVID-19 to 36 in Chelan County and 15 in Douglas County. District Health Officer Dr. Malcolm Butler says the number of people who've tested positive for the virus in the 2 counties amounts to about 7% of the valley's overall population. Meanwhile, the Grant County Health District reported 7 new COVID-19 deaths yesterday, including 2 associated with Lake Ridge Center in Moses Lake, bringing the number of deaths at that senior home to 20 since an outbreak at the facility in November. The latest Lake Ridge Center deaths were a woman in her 70s and a man in his 80s. The additional 5 deaths were not associated with a long-term care facility and included 3 Moses Lake men, 2 in their 60s and another in his 80s. Also, a Soap Lake man in his 60s and a Cooley City woman in her 70s were among the latest COVID-19 deaths. Grant County has attributed 98 deaths now to the coronavirus since the pandemic began. Meanwhile, Okanagan County also reported another COVID-19 death Monday, a woman bringing that county's total deaths from the virus to 33. 37 candidates from Eastmont and Wenatchee high schools began a 2-day process yesterday to select the Apple Blossom Top 10 royalty for the 2021 festival. 5 out-of-town judges were the only audience at the New American Performing Arts Center for each of the candidates to introduce themselves and then answer questions off their biographies. They also had the chance to throw in a fun fact at the end.
My fun fact comes off of a Snapple cap, and it says, if you leave a goldfish in a dark room, it will eventually lose its gold color and turn white.
Did you know that the Canadian moose can dive 20 feet underwater for vegetation? That's the main reason why their primary predator is the killer whale.
My fun fact is that you could fit every person in the world inside of Chelan County if you line them up shoulder to shoulder.
Did you know that the longest hiccup attack lasted 68 years? Can you imagine hiccuping for 68 years?
My fun fact is that it is impossible to hum while you're plugging your nose, and you look very silly if you try.
Monday's portion of the judging was 15% of their scores. Due to COVID, speeches that are normally conducted at their high schools with the student body voting will instead be delivered to the judges today and make up 85% of their scores. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, tonight's feature story and your complete local weather forecast. That and much more still to come on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Please stay with us.
Traditional values and innovation in honoring the life of each family we serve is part of the ministry of Heritage Memorial Chapel. Our staff is committed to walk with your family with compassion through this time of grief. We are here to help and here to serve, the right kind of help when you need it most. Heritage Memorial Chapel.
I have a hereditary bone disease from the female side of my family. My bone loss was so significant that you could almost see the roots. I became embarrassed and I started covering my mouth. Eating became very difficult as far as I stopped eating apples, corn on the cob, things that you just eat as it is without utensils. Dr. Divis was my dentist prior to having implants. We talked about traditional dentures or implants, and implants was the only way really that I could go. John Divis and all of his office staff, they checked on me throughout all the processes. I would never go anyplace else. Today, I can eat corn on the cob. I can have apples. Thanks to Dr. John Divis and his staff, I have my smile back. I feel more confident. I am me again.
This is John Divis. Let our team help you solve your dental needs.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. In tonight's feature story, vaccines are here, but so is a new, more infectious variant of COVID-19 that poses an enhanced public health threat. B.1.17, the mutated strain discovered last month in the United Kingdom, has now been detected in Snohomish County. On Monday, Dr. Malcolm Butler, the health officer for Chelan and Douglas counties, told the Board of Health it's time to redouble local prevention efforts to keep ourselves and others healthy.
You all remember pretty much exactly a year ago, COVID started. It started in Washington State. And about 4 months later, they found that it had been in San Francisco at least a month prior to that. So again, we may as well assume that it's here now, because if it isn't, it's going to be here in the next couple of weeks. The B.1.17 variant causes more disease, but not worse disease. So more people will become infected, and because more people become infected, more people will end up in the hospital. But it's not because any one person has a more severe disease, if that makes sense. It's a little complicated. So it makes more people sick, but when you get sick, it's no worse than if you had gotten it with the, what I guess I'll call the old variant. Vaccines do appear to be protective. Pfizer has published on this and proven that their vaccine does appear to be protective. The Moderna studies are ongoing. And so the way I want you to visualize this is that if you think of the original variant of the virus being sticky, kind of like bubble gum, and it sticks onto people and causes infection, this new variant is sticky like tree sap. It's just more sticky, and once it gets on you, it's hard to get off, and it gets all over the place and spreads around more quickly. So the reason I bring this up and I'm focusing on this is that now really is the time we have to double down on mitigation. And we all have COVID fatigue, and we're all looking forward to being vaccinated and being able to relax a little bit. And now we really have to tell everybody that we can't relax. So we got to look for perfect masking, wearing it up above your nose, using a good quality mask as often as possible, meeting outdoors if you have to meet in person, more hand washing and hygiene, start carrying that sanitizer again that maybe you've taken out of your purse or your car. Make sure you're washing after the stores and as you're driving home and as you're driving back to work, and then stay home as much as possible until you're vaccinated.
All right, let's get to your north central Washington weather forecast. Snowy today and more, much more on the way. We'll talk about that in a second. High today unofficially 32, and that's 5 degrees now below our normal high of 37. 28 is where we started. 26 is normal. Record high 52 in 1962. Record low 4 below zero, and that was in 1972. We picked up 1/100th of an inch of moisture out of that snow this morning, and that now gets us to 1.14 inches for the year. Let's take a look at that surface loop now and show you the next 7 days. Tonight, yeah, cloudy skies. This has been upgraded to a winter storm warning. That means it is imminent. Overnight tonight, we're going to see 2 to 4 inches of snow possible, maybe another inch or two as we get into your Wednesday forecast, and it's going to be chilly out there overnight as well. Here you go, Wednesday, 100% chance for early morning snow. So when you make that morning commute around 8, it's going to be snowing snowing pretty heavily. As I mentioned, maybe another inch or two possible tomorrow, which could get our total to 4 to 6 inches by this time tomorrow night. Thursday, then, things will calm down a little bit. We'll see a 30% chance for mainly morning snow. Most of that will lift off to the north and slightly warmer tomorrow, too. We're talking highs tomorrow in the mid-30s. And then as we get you into your Friday forecast, the best day of our entire 7 days. Mostly sunny. It will be dry as we end our week on Friday. Temperatures will warm up a little bit. Friday, as a matter of fact, highs mainly in the upper 30s, maybe pushing 40. By Saturday, back to the storminess. Here's our next storm system up in the Gulf of Alaska, sliding down the BC coast. That could bring us some isolated wintry mix on Saturday, but I think our real weather will come as we get into Sunday. We'll see cloudy skies by Sunday and a 50% chance for at least late day, early evening rain and snow showers. You can see that right here in north central Washington. Good news, it will be a little bit warmer on Sunday. You can see more of that green, and we'll continue with unseasonably warm temperatures on Monday with a 40% chance of rain mixed with snow. But as I mentioned, highs on Monday right around 40 degrees. Let's take a look now at your 7-day forecast. Tonight, 28, a good chance for more snow, especially in the morning tomorrow. Once again, a 30% chance for lingering snow Thursday, and then pretty decent for Friday and Saturday before the next round of precipitation moves our way on Sunday and Monday, with highs then near 40. And that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
It's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a happy Tuesday to you. A backup offensive tackle with the Seahawks has been jailed for suspicion of domestic violence. Chad Wheeler remained in King County Jail Monday night after he was arrested Saturday morning. According to ESPN's Brady Henderson, Wheeler is accused of assaulting a woman in an apartment in Kent. The police report says Wheeler is accused of throwing the woman on a bed, strangling her before she lost consciousness, and later picking a lock on a door to a bathroom where the woman had fled to call 911 after she regained consciousness. The Seahawks said in a statement obtained by ESPN, quote, "We are aware of the situation and still gathering information," end quote. Wheeler appeared in 5 games with Seattle this season. He is a restricted free agent. Well, the Seattle Sounders FC announced Monday that head coach Brian Schmetzer has agreed to a contract extension. Seattle native has led the Sounders to 4 MLS Cup appearances and 2 titles since taking over in the summer of 2016. Sounders FC owner Adrian Hanauer said, quote, "Brian Schmetzer and I have an almost 20-year history of working together. Although I never doubted Brian would be back in 2021 and beyond, I'm grateful he will continue to lead the Sounders FC for the years to come," end quote. As far as Schmetzer's, what he had to say, quote, "It is with great pride that I will be able to continue coaching at the club with such a rich history and tradition and positive community influence. I'd like to thank the club ownership for this opportunity, as well as all of the current and former players, coaches, and staff that have helped build something here I'm very proud of," end quote. Well, here's what's coming up on the men's college basketball schedule this week. It's a busy one, both on the men and women's side. Washington State plays at Colorado tomorrow night at 6 on ESPNU. Number 1 Gonzaga travels to San Diego Thursday night at 6 o'clock. After a day off, the Bulldogs will play at Pepperdine Saturday. That's a game at 5 o'clock, and that'll be on ESPN2. Washington will host Washington State Sunday at Alaska Airlines Arena in Seattle at 5 o'clock. That game can be seen on the Pac-12 network. On the women's side this week, Washington makes up its game at Oregon State today at 4 o'clock. That was earlier today, obviously. Washington State hosting number 6 Stanford tomorrow night at 6:30 on the Pac-12 network. Number 18 Gonzaga plays at Pacific Thursday at 7. The busy women's schedule continues on Friday when Washington State will host number 6 Stanford once again in Pullman. No, that's not a misquote there. They play Stanford in Pullman twice in 3 days. The game on Friday will tip at noon. Cal has COVID running through its program, so its weekend games against Washington and Washington State have been postponed. Number 18 Gonzaga visits St. Mary's Saturday at 1 o'clock. Washington hosts the Cardinals Sunday at 1 on the Pac-12 network. And the only game in the NHL on Monday, Vancouver clobbered Ottawa 7-1. Brandon Suter had a hat trick for the Canucks in the victory. That game played in Vancouver. The early games today have Pittsburgh in Boston, the Rangers in Buffalo, New Jersey hosting Philadelphia. The Islanders are in Washington, and Columbus hosts Nashville. The midday games, if you will, have Edmonton in Winnipeg, while Minnesota hosts Los Angeles. Detroit skates at Dallas at 5:30. The late games have St. Louis at Vegas. Toronto is in Calgary. Colorado's hosting San Jose, and Anaheim in Phoenix to face Arizona. Now, while the Buccaneers and Chiefs are preparing for Super Bowl 55 at a couple of Sundays, the Seahawks are resting and retooling for next season. The search for a new offensive coordinator continues, and there are many questions about several players who have become unrestricted free agents. And while the road ahead is a little blurry, the road behind can be seen clearly in the rearview mirror. Seattle offered up its top 10 plays of the 2020 season. Today, we'll show you the first 5 of those top 10.
And the quick out to Metcalf. Metcalf breaks a tackle, gets a first down, racing down the sideline. And Metcalf gets into the end zone. See where they spot it. It will be a 32-yard play. The quick to Metcalf, who did the rest himself. Take over the 29-yard line. Carson with the first down and all the way into the end zone for a touchdown. Chris Carson breaks away from Harrison Smith. One play, 29 yards, and Seattle extends its advantage. A crisp-looking drive here, and open inside the 35. Metcalf. All the way inside the 20, DK Metcalf, and that's going to be a Seahawk touchdown. Wow. Looked like he went from neutral to high gear. Keep an eye on number 14 tonight. He is tremendous. Wilson has protection. Wilson's going deep, and reaching for it and making the one-handed grab is Tyler Lockett.
Second down and 14 now. Wilson is chased, throws it up for grabs. He's got Metcalf. Touchdown, Seattle.
It's the scramble drill, and the Seahawks do it better than anybody. These receivers, once they see that Wilson's in trouble, DK Metcalf was just running a little pivot route over the middle of the field, and he recognizes that Wilson's in trouble, and then he takes it to the corner. Wilson retreating, and he's going to throw deep downfield, and it is Lockett for the touchdown.
High arcing ball, and as a defender, what do? Lockett now has 2 spectacular deep ball catches.
We will show you the top 5 of the top 10 plays for the Seahawks season coming up tomorrow right here on the NCWLIFE channel. That's a look at sports news. I'm Eric Granstrom. Grant, back to you.
Thank you very much, Eric. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us, and have a great night.
My name is Brian Thorpe. I own Global Car Care in Wenatchee and have been here for about 25 years.
Brian started Global Car Care as Brian's automotive alternative on Orondo Street.
Some customers were following Brian since Brian's automotive time.
No, we're just grateful to be part of this community. This is where I grew up. We want to do our part to be a valuable part of this community. We want to thank you for trusting our business for 25 years.
Do you have a fun or interesting video you'd like to see featured here on the NCWLIFE channel? It's easy. All you have to do is send us an email at newsphotos@ncwlife.com.